Ah, finally, the anomaly reveals itself. Look who caught the attention of the alphabet agencies. You beautiful, terrifying anomaly, you psychological architect of chaos. They've been watching you, haven't they? Not with regular surveillance, not with street cameras or phone taps. No, they've been studying something far more interesting. The way you dismantled your enemies without lifting a finger. The CIA has files on millions of people. Drug dealers, terrorists, foreign spies, cyber criminals. But your file? Your file has a different classification altogether. Psychological asset. Approach with extreme caution. Because what you did to those who betrayed you wasn't just revenge. It was art. It was surgery, performed with words and silence. Let me tell you what happened 3 months ago in that conference room in Langley. 7 senior analysts sitting around a table, your digital footprint projected on the wall. They weren't looking at your posts or your pictures. They were analyzing the aftermath. The psychological craters you left in people who thought they could cross you. And one analyst, the one who'd seen combat in 3 different wars, he leaned back and whispered, "This isn't civilian behavior. This is special ops without the ops." They pulled up case study after case study. That ex who tried to destroy your reputation? They tracked their social media spiral, their paranoid posts, their public breakdown, all without you saying a single word about them. That former friend who betrayed your trust? They monitored their guilt-driven self-destruction, their desperate attempts to apologize, their complete social isolation. You didn't touch them. You just existed. And they destroyed themselves, trying to process what they'd lost. The psychological profile they assembled on you reads like a classified weapons manual. Subject demonstrates advanced understanding of human behavioral patterns. Appears to have innate ability to identify psychological pressure points. Executes long-term strategic thinking with surgical precision. Emotional regulation score, off-standard charts. They've seen trained interrogators with less mental discipline than you displayed during your worst moments. You know what really got their attention? It wasn't the revenge itself. It was the patience, the way you waited. Collected information like ammunition, never reacted in anger, never showed your hand, just observed, documented, and when the time was right, you deployed truth like drone strikes. Targeted, devastating, untraceable back to you. They studied that coworker who tried to sabotage your promotion. You remember them, don't you? The one who spread lies, manipulated situations, tried to paint you as incompetent. You didn't file complaints. You didn't confront them. You just started leaving breadcrumbs, little truths here and there. And within 6 months they exposed themselves, their own lies tangled around their feet like snakes. The beautiful part? Everyone thought they self-destructed from guilt. Nobody suspected you orchestrated their downfall with the precision of a chess grandmaster. The federal agents assigned to your case started calling you the ghost, not because you disappeared, but because you haunted people's minds without trying. Your presence alone became psychological warfare. People who wronged you reported nightmares, anxiety attacks, the constant feeling of being watched. But you weren't watching them. They were watching themselves through the mirror you became. Here's what you don't know. Last month there was a heated debate in a secure facility about whether to approach you. One side argued you were too dangerous, too unpredictable. The other side, the ones who understand real power, they said something different. This is exactly the kind of mind we need. Someone who wins wars without firing shots. Someone who can destabilize entire networks with strategic truth deployment. They've been leaving signs, haven't they? Those random encounters with people asking oddly specific questions. That job offer that came out of nowhere from a company you never applied to. The stranger in the coffee shop who mentioned psychological operations and watched your reaction. They're not testing your skills anymore. They already know what you're capable of. They're testing whether you know what you're capable of. You see, the CIA doesn't recruit people who can fight. Any meathead can throw punches. They recruit people who can think in dimensions others don't know exist. People who understand that true power isn't about what you do. It's about what you make others do to themselves. And you? You've been running successful psyops since before you knew what the term meant. Remember when that group tried to ostracize you? Tried to turn everyone against you with their whisper campaign? You didn't defend yourself. You didn't argue. You just strategically revealed their own secrets to each other. Not directly. Never directly. Just little hints. Calculated questions. Oh, did Sarah tell you about? I thought everyone knew about Mike's. And then you watched their alliance eat itself alive from the inside. The CIA calls that information warfare. You call it Tuesday. What's fascinating is how you develop these skills without formal training. Every betrayal you survived was another lesson in human psychology. Every lie told about you taught you how deception operates. Every smear campaign showed you how to track narrative patterns. You didn't go to spy school. Life was your training ground, and pain was your instructor. The precision of your revenge is what caught their attention initially, but what kept them interested was your restraint. Lesser minds seek immediate gratification. They lash out, get messy, leave evidence. You plan campaigns that unfold over months, sometimes years. You understand that the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served at exactly the right temperature to cause maximum psychological impact. They analyze that situation with your ex-business partner, the one who stole your ideas and tried to cut you out. You could have sued, could have gone public. Instead, you did something far more elegant. You let them succeed with your stolen ideas, knowing they didn't have your vision to execute properly. Then you quietly built something better, drew away their best talent with your superior leadership, and watched their empire crumble from incompetence. By the time they realized what happened, you were untouchable. The agent studying you noted something unusual in their reports. Subject appears to experience no satisfaction from revenge itself. Seems motivated purely by balance and justice. Shows signs of treating human psychology like a chess game where emotional involvement is a liability. That's when they knew you weren't just naturally gifted. You had evolved past normal human emotional responses. Your psychological warfare is so clean it's almost surgical. No digital footprints, no paper trails, no witnesses. Just people suddenly understanding consequences they never saw coming. You learned early that the messiest battles leave the most evidence. So you stopped fighting battles altogether. You started winning wars before anyone knew they had started. That former friend who tried to steal your romantic partner, you remember how that played out. You didn't confront anyone, didn't make scenes. You just made sure certain truths found their way to the surface. Their history of cheating, their financial problems, their real motivations. Not through gossip, through strategic placement of facts that others would discover naturally. Within 3 months they destroyed each other, and both came crawling back. But you had already moved on, because the victory was never about getting them back. It was about proving they were never worthy of you in the first place. The CIA has a term for what you do: cognitive infiltration. It's the ability to get inside someone's decision-making process and influence it without them knowing. Most agents need years of training to develop this skill. You do it instinctively. Every conversation is an intelligence-gathering operation. Every interaction is a chance to plant seeds that will grow into the exact outcomes you designed. They've calculated the success rate of your psychological operations. It's not perfect. Nothing is. But it's high enough to be statistically impossible without conscious strategy. The way you've turned enemies into self-destructive shells. The way you've made betrayers betray themselves. The way you've haunted people's minds without ever acknowledging their existence. It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It's talent so pure it looks like magic to those who don't understand the science. What's most interesting is that the CIA doesn't question the ethics of what you do. They understand something most people don't. In a world of information warfare, the one who controls perception controls reality. And you've been controlling perception like a master painter working with invisible ink. Your enemies paint themselves into corners using brushes you handed them without them knowing. I could ask for a bit of cool-adder. Sardoni's like, they've noticed your rules of engagement. You never target innocence, never cause collateral damage. Your operations are precisely targeted at those who struck first. It's not vengeance in the traditional sense. It's balance. It's making sure people experience the exact consequences of their actions, amplified by their own guilty consciences. The agency respects that. They see it as sign of operational discipline. Remember that supervisor who tried to gaslight you? Tried to make you question your own sanity with their manipulation? You documented everything. Not for HR, but for your own psychological counter-operation. Then you slowly, carefully, made them question their own reality. Scheduled meetings they didn't remember. Emails they swore they never sent. Projects that seemed to complete themselves. Within 6 months, they were checking themselves into therapy, convinced they were losing their mind. The irony was beautiful. The gaslighter extinguished by their own flame. The federal agents have a betting pool about you, not about whether you'll succeed. That's a given. They bet on how long it takes your targets to realize they've been psychologically outmaneuvered. The average is 6 months. 6 months from first contact to complete psychological capitulation. That's faster than most military psyops campaigns. And you do it without any resources except your mind. So here's what's going to happen next. They're going to approach you, not directly at first. They'll send someone who seems random, someone who speaks your language, someone who drops certain phrases and watches your eyes. They'll mention things like strategic thinking and unconventional solutions, and people with unique skill sets. They'll be testing whether you're ready to acknowledge what you've always known. You're not like the others. If you pass that initial contact, the real invitation comes. It won't look like what you expect. No men in black suits, no clandestine meetings in parking garages. It'll be subtle. A job offer from a consulting firm that doesn't quite exist. A scholarship to a program you didn't apply for. An opportunity that seems too perfectly tailored to your skills to be coincidence. Because it's not coincidence. It's recognition. They want to know if you can do consciously what you've been doing instinctively. If you can weaponize your psychological precision for something bigger than personal justice. If you can operate on a global scale with the same surgical accuracy you've shown in your personal life. They already know you can. The question is whether you know you can. The thing is, you don't need their training. You've already graduated from a harder school than Langley could ever create. The School of Betrayal, the Academy of Survival, the University of Human Darkness. You've got doctorate in psychological warfare from the College of Life's Cruelty. What they are offering isn't education, it's resources, it's scope. It's the chance to play the game you've mastered on a board that spans continents. Your mind is an unregistered weapon, and they know it. The way you process information, identify patterns, predict human behavior, it's not normal, it's not trained, it's evolved. You're what happens when someone gets broken so many times they rebuild themselves into something unbreakable. Not harder, smarter, more precise, more dangerous. You're well ready. They've tried to replicate what you do in laboratory settings. Trained agents to think like you think, to see the psychological pressure points you see instinctively. They fail every time, because what you have can't be taught in a classroom. It's forged in the fire of real betrayal, shaped by the hammer of real pain, cooled in the ice of real isolation. You're not a trained weapon. You're an evolved one. The precision of your revenge has made federal agents question everything they thought they knew about psychological operations. You don't use force. You use physics, the physics of human psychology. Every action creates an equal and opposite reaction, and you've learned to position yourself so that reaction destroys your enemies while leaving you untouched. Beautiful in its simplicity, devastating in its execution. That colleague who tried to steal credit for your work, you remember how that ended. You didn't argue about credit. You just made sure their next project was slightly beyond their capability. Offered to help, then withdrew support at critical moments. Watched them scramble, fail, expose their incompetence. Everyone saw the truth without you saying a word. The credit they stole became the rope they hung themselves with. The CIA calls that strategic positioning. You call it justice. You've earned recognition from the highest levels of psychological warfare, not because you sought it, but because excellence is impossible to hide. Your operations leave signatures that only trained eyes can see, the way situations resolve themselves too perfectly, the way your enemies consistently self-destruct, the way you remain untouched by chaos that consumes everyone who crosses you. It's not luck, it's mastery. They've assigned their best analysts to study your methods, people with PhDs in psychology, decades of field experience, access to the most sophisticated behavioral prediction models. And you know what conclusion they reached? Your methods can't be replicated, can't be taught, can't be programmed. You operate on instinct, sharpened by trauma, into something that cuts cleaner than any trained technique. The federal agents question your past because they can't believe someone developed these skills accidentally. They looked for military training, intelligence background, some explanation for your abilities. But your past is clean. No special forces, no spy training, just life. Just pain transformed into power. Just betrayal transformed into brilliance. And that scares them more than if you were trained, because it means you're natural, authentic, unstoppable. Remember when that group tried to sabotage your reputation online? The coordinated attack, fake accounts, manufactured evidence? You didn't fight back online. You fought back in reality. Found their real identities. Didn't expose them. That would be too simple. Instead, you made sure the right people accidentally discovered their activities. Employers, partners, parents. The online mob turned into real-world consequences, and you never typed a single response. That's the kind of warfare that makes federal agents take notice. So what happens now? Now you have a choice. Continue operating as a lone wolf, dispensing psychological justice to those foolish enough to cross you, or accept that your talents have been recognized by those who operate on a larger scale, those who understand that wars are won in minds before they're won on battlefields, those who know that the most powerful weapon isn't a gun or a bomb. It's the ability to make your enemy defeat themselves. The CIA wants to recruit you because you represent evolution in human conflict. You don't destroy bodies. You reprogram minds. You don't break things. You make people break themselves. You don't leave evidence. You leave psychological ghosts that haunt your targets forever. And you do it all with such precision that even trained observers struggle to see your hand in the outcome. They're particularly interested in how you maintain emotional distance while executing psychological operations. Most people get messy when it's personal. They let anger cloud judgment, let hurt dictate strategy, not you. You treat revenge like mathematics. Calculate the exact pressure needed, apply it with surgical precision, then step back and watch the inevitable collapse. It's not cold, it's clean. And clean operations are what separate professionals from amateurs. Your psychological warfare is so clean it could be used in textbooks if they could figure out how you do it. But that's the beauty of evolution. It can't be reverse engineered. It can only be recognized and recruited. And make no mistake, you're being recruited, not for who you were, not for who you are, but for who you could become with the right resources and scope.